positions of hopelessness and helplessness. The government gives them the drugs, builds bigger prisons, passes a 3-strike law, and then wants us to sing God Bless America. No, no, no. Not God Bless America. God damn America. That's in the Bible for killing innocent people. God damn America for treating us citizens as less than human. God damn America as long as she tries to act like she is God and she is supreme.
Okay. All right. Here we are. I read a really depressing story yesterday about somebody who went to a funeral in New York, and they said that their friend died and was a nurse or something, and they went to the funeral home, and there was just like funeral shit happening, and then the casket is like in front of this big curtain, right? But like the curtain wasn't closed all the way, I guess, and they just said like, I read an article about it. I'll link the article if you want to read this and fact check it, I guess. But they said there was just a foot in like the corner of the like next to the curtain. Like you're looking at a stage, there's like a curtain's not closed all the way. They're like, there's a foot over there, right? And they got up and they were like, why the fuck is there just a foot sticking out of the curtain? And they pulled back the curtain. Pile of corpses just like sitting on a tarp, right? This is a funeral home, right? This is how bad it's getting.
A house of corpses.
And there's a truck driver somewhere like, where did I put my pile?
Yeah. House of a bunch of fucking corpses. Not 1,000. Let's not go crazy. But like, they took a picture. The picture's in the article, right? It's just a bunch of dead people like splattered out on a tarp. And, like, they don't even – I don't know if this is just funeral shit or whatever, but, like, the point of the article was, like, they didn't even cover their faces. Like, that's how disturbing it was. I guess you're supposed to cover a corpse's face. And they were really freaked out.
It would be weird if they were still in a pile, but their faces were covered.
Yeah.
That would look far more sinister.
They're all still wearing masks.
Yeah. They should be because, corpses, when they, like, decompose, gas comes out of them, and it probably comes out through the mouth hole, I would assume. It's the biggest hole in the human body. They probably should.
And they come out, and feces comes out, pee comes out. They start, all their skin shrinks, so the facial hair looks like it's being grown.
Right. Dead people, the thing is, and some people think this is disrespectful, but they be shitting and farting. Non-stop. They love to do it.
I smell dead people.
Some people think that's disrespectful, but they do be shitting and farting.
I've seen them do it. I'm just saying what I've been seeing when I go to I go to a funeral for my friend and the pile's there. When you look at the curtain and they got that pile, none of the faces are covered.
I made that mistake. I had to put down my dog when I was like 15, and I made the mistake of sitting like directly behind it as I was watching. Behind her, no. And then I just look down and I'm just covered in a flood of piss.
This is your origin story. This is how autism happens.
Wait, how did you have to put your dog down? Like, what method?
They euthanized her. They just, stuck a. They put. I think it was like put it on her front face.
Yeah. Then they have the cheeky vet that's like, "Hey, little boy, stand right here."
Yeah. Yeah, it was getting me.
It's gonna be fucking epic.
I don't know why this story's so like disturbing to me, but I think it's because like the best place they had to store all the corpses was just behind a huge curtain, like directly behind where they put the casket. It's pretty fucked up.
Yeah, it makes it feel like it's like a vaudeville act that's about to start or something.
And now, 20 dead people. They're not moving or anything.
Is that what they're gonna do? Did the SNL cast? Do they have to sign a contract that if they die, their corpses have to keep performing?
That's right.
So they just
make you sign it.
Yeah.
This industry is corrupt to the top. I tell you, the fact they make you sign that. It's never had to be enforced yet.
All right, everyone, welcome to the show.
Welcome.
Hi.
I'm Jake Flores. Alex Patax here.
Hi, I'm Jake Shred. Welcome to the show.
I like that that's your new sign-on. It makes me feel good that you're my friend.
Yeah, all we have is each other and a mound of corpses behind a curtain.
Anders Lee is here.
Jake?
Maybe he's not.
Oh, sorry, I didn't hear you. About Anders Lee here.
Yeah! Woo!
Yeah, boy. All right.
Ha ha!
The fuck?
It's Anders time. I'm gonna turn off my video. I think that'll speed things up a little bit. Hold on.
That might be what's up. I get that fucking corpse story, I guess, has been stuck in my craw because, like, I talked to somebody.
No, we lost Jake again.
No. Oh, no. Hold on.
Jake, what house are you recording at
hear you.
today?
I'm at Kate's place. Oh,
Okay.
wait, can you not hear me?
Now we can.
Now we can hear you. You just dropped out for a second. But I trust that Kate is cleaning her internet the way girls do.
Yeah.
Keeping it tip-top shape.
She's cleaning her internet.
She's getting one of those girl. Never mind.
Get what, Anders?
About to make a
Just gonna be
joke
the part we
about
cut out
certain
again?
things interfering with
Just,
internet.
so somehow gets incredibly racist.
Right. You can't. I mean, if you listen to the show, you might not know, but at least once an episode, Anders will come out of left field with some obscenely offensive shit we have to take out because he doesn't hold back. He's a no holds barred comic.
Well, speaking of no holds barred comics, I guess the reason that story about that funeral home kind of stuck out to me is because, like, the graphic for the story was the corpses. Like, it was just, like, really in your face. And but also, I talked to, like, someone in Texas this week who just, like, doesn't think that the corpse thing is real. Like, they were like, oh, the whole story with the refrigerator trucks is fake. It's not really happening. And I don't
think people really die.
there are
on vacation.
COVID truthers, and there's a guy who used to be like just a comedian in Austin or whatever, who just was an edgelord, and then he wasn't good at comedy, and then he was like an O&A guy, and then he was a conspiracy theory Alex Jones guy, and like I'm just looking at his Twitter, and it's 100% like don't wear a mask, it's all fake, the government's trying. He's like a conspiracy theorist or whatever. So he like went on
a conspiracy. The governor came up to stop women from kissing.
Yeah. But I guess I'm like kind of fascinated with like how people ended up there, because like I feel like we're almost in like flat earth territory where like you can't really prove these people wrong unless you go grab a corpse from the corpse pile or something. Like, there's an argument to be made. Like, no one really knows what's happening. You could pose a flat earthy kind of argument that's like impossible to prove wrong, but still extremely fucking stupid, that like this is all just a big sham or whatever, I don't know. It's kind of weirding me out.
Well, I think it's like it's part of American culture now to foster that kind of mentality, Like I think the best one-on-one comparison I can think of is, everyone has questions about 9/11, especially right after it happened, right? But there was a very popular type of guy who was like, I know what happened. And It's the government trying to get to me.
Yeah.
Shady Records was 30 seconds from the towers. Hey, Bush, you missed. And I feel like that kind of mentality is now just fostered. It like just pops up every 5 years in a different form. And so right now we get it's like when we talked to Eli Sayers on the primary road trip episode, and he was telling us like in the South the cool guys who break all the rules were the conservatives, and then like the lame goody two shoe guys were the Dems.
Yeah.
I think the same kind of mentality that makes you like, man, fuck everybody else. It's a free market. Get out there and hustle. Also logically leads to just like, they're keeping me inside because they hate that I go to restaurants.
Yeah.
Well, it's strange because you would think that they would listen to Trump, who is saying that the coronavirus is real. You know, he'll at the same time validate people who want, things to be opened back up in different states. But like, I don't know, I feel like Trump's strategy should be to just double down on it not being real. Just like continue to deny it, Then he can't be held accountable for like fucking things up if he can just say like, no, it's all a hoax, folks.
Well, he's walking a thin line there because he wants to do that more than anything, but he also doesn't want to be held accountable for a like genocide of dead Americans, which will happen if he just opens everything up again. So he's just saying that and then doing whatever the science chief or whatever tells him to do.
For now, but apparently they might wind down the coronavirus task force.
Right, you were saying that.
Right.
I don't know what they're doing specifically right now, but I don't want them to stop doing it.
Yeah, I mean, it's being reported right now in the New York Times, but it could just be, Trump on a whim saying this to somebody, whispers, circulating. But, I mean... Yeah, he wants people to get back to work and stuff. So I think at a certain point he might just go full denialist.
Yeah, I don't know, man. I mean, I feel like he's also getting really like into the like doomer shit though, because he's been tweeting. I mean, he's been alternating between just ridiculous Trump shit, like where he calls people haters and stuff, and then also just talking like Deckard Cain from Diablo, where he's like, he tweeted the other day, this tweet starts with a ... like an ellipses. It's not
like there was more before.
Yeah, but it's not continuing anything. It says, and then came a plague. So it's like he's tweeting like biblical shit. Like a sentence starts... And then came a plague, and plague is capitalized for no reason. And then came a plague, a great and powerful plague. And the world and plague are both capitalized. I'm not even going to point out what parts are capitalized because it's like it would just fuck up the rhythm of this. But here we go. And then came a plague, a great and powerful plague, and the world was never to be the same again! ! But America rose from this death and destruction, always, for no reason, always remembering its many lost souls and the lost souls all over the world, and became greater than ever before. This is apropos of nothing, like before or after this tweet.
There was no way someone was hired to make that tweet.
Yeah. That was like before and after. That was one of the tweets that they let him do. You can tell there are some that are like clever, where they have like, some sort of like media people that make those cool videos and shit. But like that was him just going off, really getting into the role of like prophet or something. Like I don't even know.
Yeah,
He's like prophet of the apocalypse. Because like
that sauce is straight from the chef. It has a real feel too of him like being like, I know there's a Bible verse for this, but I can't look it up. I'll make a better one.
Yeah.
They're like straddling this weird line between coronavirus isn't real, or it was made in a lab, or it's just good that it's the end of the world or something. You can tell how reactionary it is because it's...
If you get sick, you were a sinner. You had it coming. God doesn't want you to be here anymore.
Yeah. Like the people that are deniers are going to flip immediately as soon as they get it or someone they know gets it and reach for like the quickest explanation that just isn't something that would just like shatter their whole idea of how the world works, I guess. Which is weird because this isn't even like, I don't know. I thought we were going to like go to war or something. We're going to have this big I told you so like anti-capitalist sort of point of view and go like this shouldn't have happened because of profits or whatever. But I feel like we just like I think we're getting killed by the guy in the background of Too Many Cooks. Like, he was just here the whole time. This has nothing to do with, like, government or anything. And we're dying, and the fact that our government is set up bad is, like, a big part of what's happening, but not really the end-all, be-all.
You're saying this is like a Shyamalan twist.
Yeah, it has, like, nothing to do with anything that we were...
And an unrelated villain comes and gets us all when we were all looking the other way. But the thing is, it wouldn't get us all if we did have a government that made sense. Because there's a very easy way to stop this that every other country has tried to do, some to some success.
Right.
Right. Except
Right.
those
Like,
fucking bastard Swedes.
Yeah.
Well, explain.
You know, they're not doing anything. They're just like business as usual.
Wait, really?
Yeah.
Why?
And it's because they have great healthcare, so they just figure like, oh, we can brave this. And they're doing. I mean, there are more. I think there are more cases there, but they are doing as a whole about as well as everybody else.
Right. Well, you know, if you've seen Midsummer, you know that in that region there is a culling of the elderly at a certain point, and it is just one of the seasons of life.
Wait, it is.
Right?
It was like just winter came early this year for them.
It is May.
Yeah.
It's the midsummer month when there would be like a May Queen, you know, like in the movie.
Right, but there is no May Queen. Instead, it's just everyone over 65 suddenly disappearing.
Which is not unlike a lot of what the liberals of the U.S. are saying, is that we just need to fucking let people die when they turn a certain age.
Yeah. So in a way, it's natural.
Yeah.
It's just not the future we could have.
Right. Just, swap in the market for traditional Swedish fucked up culture.
Yeah.
So I'm gonna give Jake's theory a 50% approve in that. Definitely didn't see this coming, but also if we had any kind of health system that made sense, it wouldn't be half as bad.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
I snoped you.
We would be South Korea or whatever. I don't know, man. I don't have a particularly smart analysis of this right now because, like, it's just been hitting me in waves. Like, I was really excited to quarantine. Like, I was like, I'm more equipped for this than everyone else. I get to stay inside and be on the internet. I'm your guy. But, like, just keeps hitting me in weird waves in, like, the middle of the night where I, like, look outside. I'm like, oh, the end of the world is happening.
Yeah.
I don't know. What do you guys think? What do you think is happening? What do we do? This is not a good premise for a podcast question, but I'm like out of ideas.
We're veering into like Duncan Trussell territory of like, how do you cope with the end? I don't know. I can't decide. I've been doing pretty well, and I don't think my experience is like anything teachable or relatable for most people. But I've been very cynical for so long about what the future was going to be like, and I think a lot of socialists have, especially if you're like a climate obsessed person like I am, that to have a version of this where you don't have to physically leave your house because water's coming in does feel like I can mentally get through this part.
Yeah, I mean, I think this is revealing how our economy is structured, like who actually makes the economy run. And people are realizing that. And I think, the more venal capitalists are about throwing people back into the fucking meat grinder, the disease grinder, the more possibility there is for labor militancy. So in that way, it's not really a positive or negative thing. That's just the way forward is supporting strikes and, trying to radicalize people who do control the economy. They're not necessarily conscious of the fact that their labor is making things function, right, but they have the power to shut everything down. And I think that's becoming more and more apparent. And I think like the ruling class is freaking out because they don't really know what to do. They don't know if they should appease their workers, or if they should just be extra punitive, because there's downsides to either way. If they appease them too much, and the workers will say like, hey, why don't we have this stuff all the time? Why don't we have these benefits, even when there's not a pandemic? If they're too venal, then the workers are going to might fight back. So there's potential here. I don't know. No one knows where it's going to go, but I think this is bringing us into like a new sort of era, and possibly like a new relationship between labor and capital, or at least a new understanding of class consciousness.
Don't you think though that our economy, just based on the fact it's so full of jobs that do not do anything, put us at a point of confrontation for that? Like, how do you have a militant labor union of like content creators?
Well, I know. But that's not, yeah. So there are a lot of people, such as myself, who are not really affected by this in any negative way, to be perfectly blunt. But
right, but like
there's
I mean,
millions of people who are frontline workers. That's that's who's making the economy run right now. So that's who I'm talking about. Those are the people who are going to feel the consequences of this the most, and those are the people who stand the most to gain if they, are exposed to the real. I mean, not to say people aren't conscious of this already, but if we, are able to support their right to strike and unionize and do things, then that could lead to something. Because that is still the majority of the economy is, low wage jobs and people who we would call essential now.
Sure, but that's the interesting part, man. That's what I'm saying is you're 100% right, and there is a whole swath of people, a massive swath of Americans who are just on the chopping block right now. And politically, like if you look at the Democrats and Republicans, no one knows what to do about it. But the historical comparison, the parallel everyone looks to for the last huge economic collapse is the 1930s with the Great Depression, which had a militant labor movement spring up out of the need for one to arise because so many people were on the chopping block. But if you look at like who worked as a quote unquote essential worker in 1930 and who works as one now, just percentage wise, it's like 70% versus 30% or something. Like
1930 was 70%.
Yeah. Like so many more people had jobs that made things, whereas now that is not the reality. Like,
you mean manufacturing?
Manufacturing, service. There's still more service people than non, but okay, you still have 40% of the country that just like works at Dunder Mifflin or like.
Well, but there's also massive unemployment in the 30s too. So there's a ton of like people who weren't doing anything.
Yeah. That's what I'm saying. But like, I know so many people who are just like working from home right now. So I don't know how that throws a wrench in the whole situation. Like, do we get better if we can just game through this?
I don't know. You mean, do we get better? You mean, do we get better politically?
Yeah. Like, is there any kind of push for reform or improvement if the reactionary owning class or the bourgeoisie is allowed to just like further distance themselves from the situation?
I don't know how they can. I mean, they're gonna have to either send people back to work or not. They have to make that choice, and we don't know how the working class is going to react. Probably will be in many different ways, but I think the key now is just support strikes, support unions. There's an effort right now through DSA, but it's another organization where that's like letting people know how to form a union if they are in fields where they, workplaces where they don't have one yet.
Right.
So I think stuff like that is the future. I mean, even before this.
Oh, and quick pitch, by the way.
Sure.
I'll let you go back to a second, but coming up, we do have an interview with one of our friends, David Bradley Isenberg, fellow comedian who's trying to unionize his journalist outfit right now in the middle of the coronavirus and how that's going. So if you're trying to unionize, look out for that in a few minutes.
Boom. Well, yeah. I mean, I was just going to, like, even before the pandemic, right, you had a record number of strikes in the past couple years. Like, labor militancy is on the upswing. It's been so down for so long, but this is already starting to come to a head before coronavirus broke out.
Yeah, but do you think, like, I don't know, something that's bothering me about this is that I think, like, the fact that everyone has to stay inside and exist 100% online and shit. I guess it was already kind of like this, but, like, you're talking about these people that have, like, work from home jobs now, where they're just sort of like, okay, I live in my living room and I work on my laptop and that's work, and whatever, I'll just ride this out like this. Doesn't that, like, kind of like further disconnect people from the reality that in order to fix this, you probably have to support strikes and workers and stuff like that? Because I feel like those people were already really real bad, and now when I talk to them, they're just like, vote, like hope and all this shit. And the picture of Hillary with the vote mask on that's like extremely doomer and cursed and shit. I don't know. It was already impossible to explain this to those fucking people. But while they're like sitting inside playing Animal Crossing and stuff and just going like, well, Joe Biden will fix it or whatever, it seems
those
like
people are always going to be the last to come
now.
around if they do, I think the key now is organizing people who are frontline workers, and that's not the people you're talking about.
Yeah, but Jake is right. I mean, that's a huge block of the American public, and I'm putting my money on in terms of the doomer gamble table. Like, we're going to be sold to war in the next 5 years so fast. People want one so bad. I mean, just the Venezuela stuff in the news today. I mean, that we don't need to go into too much detail on it, but there's just like a naked coup attempt in Venezuela by people with U.S. government IDs on them. They brought
at
them
least
to
pretend
Venezuela.
to be Canadian.
They did an oopsies abroad, and the way the media is covering it is like,
yeah, they tried to release that clip of them being detained by the Venezuelan military as like, look how they're mistreating our guys that are over there for some reason or whatever. But like, it's pretty hard to watch that and not go, wait a minute, why the fuck are like CIA people in Venezuela,
wait, why did we send spies over there right now? What?
And they're not being mistreated, really. They're in the clip that they released, like, one of the guys is handcuffed or something, and then like, somebody in combat gear like reaches over and does that shit where they like push his head down or whatever, which is like, that sucks, but like, you invaded a
Are
foreign
you a CIA trained spy?
They had every right to kill you, They're probably just going to send you back.
Well, it's funny because like they probably thought it would be extra easy to topple Maduro now that there's a pandemic, but he's been like handling it pretty well. Like the people of Venezuela, like I believe they suspended rents.
People are one of my favorite type of Facebook person right now is like dumb libertarian guys that are like, you see how you're getting a sneak peek of what socialism is like when you go to the fucking supermarket, and you're like, we're not living in socialism and this is happening. What is even the fucking reasoning here? Also, I don't think that's happening in like Venezuela and Cuba and shit. This should be so fucking obvious, and it's not.
This is the guy who comes home to find his wife has left him. They're like a sneak peek of socialism. They take your wife.
Yeah. Those people are like so obsessed with the idea that like grocery stores won't have shit on their shelves because that happened at some point in like the Soviet Union or something. But like, this is not a good worldview. We're imagining that and then working backwards from any situation to justify whatever, voting for a libertarian or whatever the fuck.
Right. To them, socialism is either like a shortage of something or just a preponderance of the same thing. But because it's all one brand, it doesn't matter how much of it there is. It's just,
we would be so much better off right now if there was one brand of a ton of shit at the grocery store and we just went and got it and went, back to staying inside or whatever. There's a shortage because we have this stupid system where there have to be a bunch of different fucking brands for you to choose from.
Right, and because we're not actually using the Defense Production Act to like do some fucking central planning.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, it's also just like a terrible time to throw a coup anywhere because right now the American public thinks
throw a
Donald
coup.
Trump is doing a good job with the coup. I mean, with the disease. I mean, like anyone, they looks good right now just because they have the job. Good for you. You're daddy for America.
Man, I don't know. Speaking of grocery stores, do you remember a couple years ago when the police just invaded a Trader Joe's in Silver Lake and shot a woman for no reason?
I actually
know if I
don't
saw
remember that.
This was a friend of mine. This is gonna sound like the most making it about me sentence ever, but that was a friend of mine's friend.
Who got shot?
Yeah. Fuck. Actually,
I'm sorry.
I'll tell you off mic, but you know this person too, Anders.
Okay.
It was a friend of ours. 2 degrees separated. That woman that got shot. Right. The LAPD murdered this woman, Melly Corrado, in Silver Lake, and for no reason, out of nowhere, Trader Joe's just donated $125,000 to the LAPD to like apologize for them murdering their employee.
God.
Yeah.
Jesus.
Why?
That wasn't Trader Joe. That was Trader Jose did that.
Oh yeah.
That's a different guy. He's only in charge of a certain part of the store.
Have you ever heard the Kyle Kinane bit, Trader Jose?
Yes, one of the greatest of all time.
One of the
I do not think you could do it now. Even though he is very self-aware of it in the bit, there is a long accent section regarding Trader Ming, but also Trader Ming not part of the store anymore. So that's how change happens.
yeah. Happens.
Subscribe to our Patreon if you want to hear those.
We'll do the bit in its entirety.
Yeah, we just have Kyle Kinane's album behind the paywall.
It's just me
Stealing
doing
comedy albums.
We have an episode coming up of just me doing Dat Fan's entire act.
Yes, I would pay so much money for that. Can we do that legally?
Actually, well, let's look into it.
Okay, all right. Yeah, slam that subscribe button.
Yeah.
This is gonna be good. Yeah, I did see that they're paying the police department. I didn't understand why.
It makes no sense.
Did that part come out?
I don't fucking know, man. This is like when the police shot that UPS guy, and the UPS was like, "We apologize that our employee got killed by you." Oh, can I click on it right now and look it up? I don't know.
There was some like billboard in Harlem, I think, that was someone wrote "fuck the police" on it, and then someone else changed it to "thank the police." It was recent.
That's one of NWA's worst songs. When you could tell they lost the plot.
Yeah.
All right. Do we want to cut to this interview and cut back?
Okay.
Well, swing us in, baby. Tell us what the hell's happening.
All right. I'm going to organically swing us in now. Yeah. The police are full of murderers. But you know who else is full of murderers is the corporate boards of the pigs of the owning class around America. And organizing against them today, we're going to switch over to our interview with David Bradley Isenberg of the Ponzi Scream podcast. Let's go to that now. We're here live from the apartment interviewing a hot new guest, David Bradley Isenberg from the Ponzi Scream podcast. White collar crime brought to you, the American viewer. David, how you doing?
I'm vibing, man. I'm here. I'm ready. I'm ready to fight. Feeling good, man. Thanks for having me on.
Are you ready to fight?
Yeah.
Okay, great. You won't be asked to do that. So, David is working for an outfit known as Pageant Media, who is recently caught in the middle of a unionization push, and there's been a little bit of pushback at his office, and he's going to tell us a little bit about that today. First of all, what do you guys do over there?
So we write about the financial sector. I specifically write about mutual funds, and I'm not going to say any more than that because your readership will fall asleep because it's really, really boring, but it affects every single person you know who has money in a 401k or an IRA is basically like something related to a mutual fund. So it's normal people money. If you invest, it's normal people money. And so I cover like how those things are, lawsuits about that stuff, and when people are, when like Wall Street is skimming off the top and stealing some money from teachers and stuff like that. So I write about that, but then people write about hedge funds, people write about other shit. And we started unionizing Push beginning of mid last year with the help of DSA Labor Branch. So shout out to them.
Shout out.
And we tried to get the editorial team all together while we got together with the News Guild, and they wanted us to push to try and get salespeople. Salespeople were a little bit reluctant. We couldn't get to them. Only later did we find out that our salespeople, a lot of them actually have equity in the company, so that was partially a reason why it was not going to happen with them. Then we have basically we went public about 2 weeks ago with our union, and we sought voluntary recognition, which means that we are hoping that the company will just say yes to the union. And they
How often does that happen?
Not that often. I mean, if we had a more sympathetic audience, I think that our audience is by definition the least sympathetic to our cause that you could think of. So
right.
We could if we had a sympathetic audience, like maybe like what BuzzFeed does, we could have done like a public pressure campaign and just scared the bejesus out of them, That way it would have been like,
that's not going to work in this one.
we would have been like, support our union, Sullivan and Cromwell law firm, please. And they would have been like, I have personally eaten 14 labor leaders to get to this position.
We're just like the butler at your house you despise.
Yeah. It wasn't gonna happen that way, but we did it just to kind of out of an act of good faith. And then we also filed to have our back covered. We filed for an election with the National Labor Relations Board. Those are the two ways that you can form a union, and we have an election scheduled. It's got our ballot. So because of COVID, it's all remote. So this whole organizing thing and going public has been remote, which is weird. And now the election is going to be remote, and that is going to be this Friday is when the ballot's going out. So the campaign officially.
Do you think that's Friday. A good or bad sign? Remote voting. Do you think maybe people will feel less pressure?
Yeah, I mean, look, we all feel alienated at our job, right? When our boss is there. But I think that now that you are alienated from the person who is alienating you, it's kind of good. It's kind of a double negative.
I mean, entirely on a speculative basis, because I've never unionized shit, because I've only worked in jobs beyond unionizing. I feel like there must be an intense amount of pressure to not like show your face even associated with a unionization drive, just because if it doesn't work out, you have the people higher up just kind of looking at you and counting, and so maybe some kind of detachment might even help you with that. I don't know.
It all has to be secret. I mean, when I said we started unionizing over the past year, it is like secretly getting coffee with someone multiple times a week without your boss even knowing that you two are getting coffee. Like, the whole thing has to be secret, because while it is illegal to retaliate against someone for unionizing, it is incredibly common, especially before you go public with your union. So we had to be very, very, very careful. In the beginning, it was just 3 of us, and we just had to, it was just trying to, feel people out, feel people, whether they were, they would be like, oh yeah, I mean, I like Elizabeth Warren. And I'd be like, what does that mean? I don't know. Or people would be like,
code?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, and you'd have to kind of figure out, like, oh, he likes soccer. Maybe he'd support a union. Like, there's just weird cultural signifiers that you have to infer. And we eventually we got it because our company has a lot of issues, and a lot of people don't like the company. Especially the veterans. And that's a bad sign when the veterans don't like the company. We've had some serious issues with immigration issues. Just say that we are a British company, and so they have mishandled a lot of people's pay and benefits disparities between the UK and the US office. There's been very specific immigration issues that have like totally upended people's lives based off of the company's negligence. I can't go into any more detail on that. There have been a lot. We don't get we get paid like reasonably
Any crimes you want to share on the podcast?
I'm gonna save that for our attorneys to go into, but I can't say there are some things that are you would never expect a white collar office for them to be doing. It's not and it doesn't involve child.
That does make me very curious, but I'll leave it alone. I guess so. If you're listening to this show and maybe you have a job that, I mean, right now you probably don't, but let's say you have a job that's maybe on the verge of unionizing or thinking about unionizing. What are some things you've learned from your drive to unionize? Are there any warnings you'd give yourself 6 months ago?
Good question. I would say management can be very dumb. They can be very, very dumb. They really do. Most managers do not know how to handle this stuff. And if you are quiet and if you're careful and you know who you can trust and stuff like that, then you can do this. We have unionized a publication whose readers are probably the most adversarial as you can get to the working class. Like, they think the Wall Street Journal is like a little too populist for them, you know?
Fantastic.
And, if we can do it, then like, what's your excuse would be my thing to readers. It takes a lot of being a lot of very repetitive conversations with people. You have just to repeat over and over the same things about how you're not going to get fired, you're not going to get deported, you're not going to lose your promotion, and you just have to say it over and over. So be prepared to say the same thing over and over again, probably about 50 or 60 times to people while you're getting coffee one-on-one.
Are there any low-level retaliations that you maybe didn't consider beforehand that kind of irk your members? You know, like stuff you wouldn't even consider.
Well,
that gets to you.
Not yet, because it's still a little fresh. I mean, they have sent out some really weird emails. Our company is the largest shareholder in our company is a private equity firm. They just bought us in February. And so the private equity firm is being very, very deliberate about the message that they are sending, because once you go public, especially, a company does have to be very, very careful about what they say. There are a lot of things they're not allowed to say. And they basically haven't retaliated against us yet. And they're really trying to be careful about, they're not allowed to make any threats. They're not allowed to make any promises. They kind of implicitly have on a few occasions already.
Right.
That would be kind of, but then we'll send out an email, like they send out an email to the entire 300-person office globally, and our union's email account sent out like a bit of a clap back, as they say, and we got like 15 different messages from people, and like head of human resources in the London office, head of sales of hedge fund products in the London office, saying that we are being divisive and now is the time for unity. I thought one of them was going to quote Winston Churchill, some shit. Like, it was just like, we are in the middle of a pandemic and we can't deal with this distraction. #OnePageant. And and then so that's been like it's been a lot of weird intimidation sort of stuff like that. And then last week we had what are called captive audience meetings. And if you
this is what I want to hear about.
Yeah, baby. So a captive audience meeting is when upper-level management, brings in three workers, basically, right? Some people are supporting the union, some people are openly supporting the union, some people are privately supporting the union, and some people are on the fence, right? And they'll bring them in small groups with someone, an independent management consultant, independent union consultants who presents they say they want to present the management side of the story. This guy, by the way, total doofus, man. It was just so weird talking to him. I want to give you a little bit of detail about him. This guy is...
Okay.
as a human resources manager, he calls himself, and he may be, he calls himself like a grill master on his LinkedIn. Like he's like, I consider myself, I'm a consultant who breaks up unions, and I'm also a grill master. I just really, and this is his LinkedIn profile, and it's just, it's pretty hilarious. Right. So he comes in and he talks to us about how, a union there's no guarantees, and a union will make you sign things in a contract that you don't want. They will make coronavirus last forever. They will fill all the holes in bagels, so that way they're actually more like thick toast. They will...
Is he comparing everything to grill analogies? Does it come up again? Or that's a red herring to make you think he's going to be more fun than he is?
Yeah, he's just like, the union wants well-done ribs, and that's just unconscionable. We can't have... Right. We need to have some juicy pork ribs.
Hard work is the juice of our company. And when you grill it out, you're going to lose everything that makes us delicious in the first place.
Exactly. It's like, and human resources is the barbecue sauce of our company, and a union is just bringing in a different sauce. And we calibrated this dry rub for this sauce, anyways. So,
I'm sorry. As a personal lover of barbecue sauce, I was captivated, and now I understand why he includes the grill stuff, because it does immediately make me like him more.
So we had that. It's like an hour-long meeting with the CEO, 2 of my bosses. One is in London, one's in the U.S., and then 3 of us, and then like maybe 2 other people, and we're just listening to this guy deliver this PowerPoint about all the bad things that a union does, and every single employee has to go through that. And now this week they're doing one-on-ones where they're literally every single manager is like having a one-on-one conversation with people. But again, I do think that it's a little bit helpful that we're remote, because we can just be on our union WhatsApp chat. I mean, like, LOL, like,
If you don't have to physically walk into their office, that's far less intimidating for what is clearly on its face an intimidation tactic.
Precisely.
Oh, you want to unionize? Go tell that to your boss's face right now.
Yeah, exactly. I think that like part of intimidation is smell and pheromones, and those don't travel over Zoom yet. So
no, they can't do like the Donald Trump handshake where he pulls you over to him.
Yeah,
electronically yet.
Not yet.
No, you guys kind of lucked out in this one tiny aspect of this.
In one way, yeah, it's been helpful. It's even the playing field a little bit for us.
Sure. Okay, well, I wish you best of luck this Friday. Is there anything else our listeners should know about this union drive?
No, I think we can do it. Please follow us on Twitter. We need as many followers as we can get. Please follow We Are PMWG, so WEARE PMWG on Twitter, and retweet all our stuff. We want and need to have as much support as possible. Media is having a unionization push, like the entire industry is just going union, and please follow all unionizing media outlets, whether they are the Bradenton News Journal or the Palm Beach Gazette. They all need as many followers as possible, because public pressure is basically the only leverage that we have, especially when we get into contract negotiations. So please publicly support as much as you can.
Follow them on Twitter. David, thanks so much for coming on, and good luck.
Hey, thanks, man. And if you can, we also I have a freelance project that I run with, I think, a friend of your show, Danny Feltz and Gabe Pacheco. We run a white-collar crime podcast called Ponzi Scream. Check that out. Wherever podcasts are available, we talk about white-collar crime. We talk about like how the Amish, some like ice cream shop owner like fleeced the Amish for $60 million, and we just have fun with stuff like that, And
I wouldn't think the Amish have $60 million.
They didn't, and that was why this guy got in trouble. So we talk about that stuff. We go into a little bit more detail. Like, I think that a lot of people talk about why is Puerto Rico so broke. We actually go into some specific detail about that. It goes back to like some obscure law from 1917 that's governing territories. And then we also talk about really, really specific stuff. Some of it I actually cover at my day job, but I actually get to talk about it in a way that how it relates to us, normal people, things like that. So we'll talk. We talk about things like, financial sector arbitration expungement and why it's very, very weird. And yeah, it's just a messed up little world. So that's Ponzi Scream.
Right. Definitely check it out. If you're a dumb guy like me who can't really wrap his mind around any kind of financial crisis or white collar crime, they'll do it for you, baby. Go check them out. Thanks again for coming on.
Thanks, Alex.
And we're back.
Best of luck to them in their organizing routes.
Yeah.
Hey, go start a union. If they can do it in their finance journalism outfit, I'm sure you can too.
Right. Yeah, I mean, there are still precarious people who have stay-at-home jobs who are, also looking to be radicalized.
Right. Or at least looking to organize. It was extremely cool. I'm not sure if we've mentioned this on the show before. DSA labor branch in New York City was sending out texts saying if you're a DSA member and need money to make rent, we can find you a job as an essential worker.
Yeah.
Oh.
I don't know. I thought that was extremely cool. Respect for that.
Do you remember when people were like, the DSA is for bros and it's for fucking, like dumb college kids and shit? It's so fucking stupid to think about that. And then now society's collapsing and this organization is like, helping people get jobs during the economic apocalypse.
Right.
What
right,
a dumb thing to have
It is not an
thought.
organization for stupid college students. It's an organization for stupid grad students. They've taken a lot of school. They know how. They have some good ideas.
I guess it's like, what I'm getting at is like stupid grad students as opposed to what? Like that's
Exactly.
You need stupid grad students to be organizing like pipelines for people to get jobs during an apocalypse. That's like a pretty good thing for stupid grad students to be happening. So when you like shit on it, you're like shitting on it from a position of going, well, I'm doing something better. And like, what the fuck was that?
Right. There's so many people who abstain membership. They're like, you know what? There's too many people in DSA like me, so I'm not going to join until they shape up.
Yeah.
And get more.
Right.
And it's like, yeah, obviously the goal of most members I know is to expand and look more like the working class, but that doesn't happen overnight. Like, no, it's very common in history. It's like an organization doesn't begin the way it ends up. Like, you have to start with what you got, and then you build from there.
Yeah.
I mean, this isn't how they would phrase it, but it is almost one-to-one with, there are too many dudes at this party. Gotta wait it out till it's a little more mano a mano, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Man on man?
Man on man.
That's not...
Man on man, where one man is the working class and the other man is an ally.
There you go.
Mano a mano is hand to hand.
Oh, right.
Whatever.
Combat.
Not if you don't know Spanish, it's not.
I think it's Latin.
Well, you know who was really mano a mano was the late Ted Kennedy. He was really really hands-on guy.
Oh my
How
god.
did you do that?
That's a good point, Anders. He was really a hands-on guy. Wait, hold on. Oh, wait, never mind. This isn't the real Trump account. I was going to say Trump just shared the Three Amigos picture and said Happy Cinco de Mayo.
Dude, he just... Do you know what he did today?
It was a parody.
Sorry, we'll get to the Ted Kennedy thing in a second. Do you know what he just did today? It's Cinco de Mayo. He retweeted the picture of him eating the taco bowl from 2016 when he was running for president.
Oh, God.
Where he was like, look,
Okay.
I love Mexicans. He retweeted it, and the caption was, remember this?
Oh my God! Because he knows what works. It's triggering libs. That made a bunch of libs upset and made his base happy.
Remember this is the funniest thing you could say about something like this. It's just no other caption. This is happy hashtag Cinco de Mayo. Oh man, that's so fucking funny.
He deserves to be our president.
All right.
I think that every 2 weeks.
Right. Why did you want to talk about Ted Kennedy?
Okay, well, so this week, right, we're hearing a lot about the Tara Reid allegations, and Biden is denying it. People are walking back everything they've ever said about, victims and believing women. Of course, Biden's vice president is going to be a woman, and man, I don't envy her, whoever she may be, having to basically clean up after his assaults and, uncomfortable touching.
Does the vice president have to do that?
Yeah, if you're Joe Biden's vice president. I mean, that's what
patrol.
That's what the job's going to be, is a buffer for him just being a creep. You're going to say, like, oh, would I be a creep if I let, Amy Klobuchar be my second in command?
Right. Before you meet with Joe Biden, Kamala Harris comes in the room and is like, now everybody keep your hands in your pockets. The president is coming in.
But so his VP committee, right, to choose the vice president is headed by Christopher Dodd, former Connecticut senator, who I knew, I remember him running for president in 2008, but I didn't realize that he has sort of a history of some not safe for work behavior. With this article from GQ is going around from 1990 about Ted Kennedy, who, I knew he was kind of, a philanderer, but I had no idea the extent of just god-awful shit.
Well, we all knew he killed that girl in Chappaquiddick.
Right, which he,
There's a movie about it.
Yeah, yeah. But after that, you would think that, okay, that's when he really, cleaned up and got on the straight and narrow.
Oh,
but
man.
no.
Once a dog,
there was
always
no straight
a dog.
Yeah, dude. You shared this article with us, and I was kind of like, why am I reading this? And then I was just like, I don't fucking care anymore. This is the craziest shit I've ever heard. First of all, the context of his life, that he is such a fucking wild drunk, but also multiple members of his family have been publicly executed, so it kind of makes sense even. And it's just the most fascinating man in America. And he's just going into restaurants and grabbing the waitresses and throwing them onto tables.
Yeah, and throwing them onto Chris Dodd.
It was now
finding a woman, like Kennedy's staff would do for him, find dates in D.C. in the 80s. But finding,
in their defense, they have a lot of experience finding women.
You're right. But the weird kind of paradox here is the article opens with him getting up super early and just going straight to work and talking about how effective of a senator he is. And he also has some sort of twitch in his hand that, you kind of are sympathetic to him. And then right as 5 o'clock strikes, he just hits the sauce. And there's a story about him meeting a 16-year-old outside a nightclub in D.C., and then a limo just pulls up and he opens the door and there's already champagne on ice in the limo.
Fuck.
And he tries to get her to have dinner with him.
And she worked for him too.
Oh yeah, a bunch of people work for him. There's the T-shirt girl from Massachusetts and the beach town that he goes in the summer. And apparently in that town, they had a saying where it's not officially summer until Ted Kennedy drives on the sidewalk.
Yeah, dude. He's
when you go to a small town in the middle of Europe and there's a lake monster who takes a girl every summer, but he keeps the harvest coming, so we have to give it.
He's like Billy Joel or something, or an entire...
Yeah.
There's a level of drunk you can become where you're kind of a joke, kind of a warning to an entire community. Don't go outside after 8 p.m. because, that's when Billy's head.
There's Kennedys out there.
Well, it's just strange. It's like we said, this is after Chappaquiddick, and he's still driving around drunk and harassing women. It took him 30 years after he became his last job was senator of Massachusetts, and he got it in 1962. And like, I guess you can't help but like get sort of good at a job if you have it that long. So that's like, I guess, what happened. But like, by all, standards that we supposedly hold politicians to, he should have been out of public life before Chappaquiddick. Like, he was, doing all kinds of, forcing himself on women. There's a story about how he went to Alaska, and then on the way back, he just started like pelting the press with pillows and like walking around the plane drunk and like muttering about how he was going to get killed next.
To give an idea of how unacceptable this was a scandal in 1990.
Yeah, and even after this, he was like peripherally involved in a rape by one of his nephews, who was acquitted. But and then he still was reelected in 1994, and he did actually finally like clean up. But that's after like 30 to 40 years of just being a belligerent booze hound and like assaulter.
Right, just like hellish debauchery on a international scale for 40 years.
I mean, and it's sad too, because I was looking into this a little bit, how he challenged Jimmy Carter in 1980 for the Democratic nomination, even though he was a sitting president. And during that time, he was just really unhinged too. Like, he would just begin his speeches in French for no reason. Yeah. Everyone would be like, I have no idea what was going on, but they still like ate it up, and everybody knew about Chappaquiddick. But because and this is definitely a thing with like Irish Americans who are over like 50 or 60, like if you say anything bad about the Kennedys, like their face will go from like blue to purple to yellow to red, Right. They just like change colors in front of you, like the Kennedys are American dynasty.
They said we had a line directly to the Pope. You don't know what we've been through. There is no better argument that Americans just want to return to monarchy than talking to any Boston family about the Kennedys for 5 minutes.
But it's sad because his 1980 run, that was like the last stand of American like Great Society, New Deal, welfare, liberalism. Like, that was it. He had it all on the line, because it's like, and it's been something I've been thinking about now with Joe Biden. Like, okay, he's done something terrible, right? But is what he, probably did with Tara Reade, is that even any worse than voting for the Iraq War? And like, what are the, consequences you have to add up if you're, voting in a swing state? But with like Kennedy and Carter, I don't know what I would have done in 1980, but like, Carter is a genuinely good and decent human being who has awful politics and is like sending the Democratic Party to the middle, sending it in a more corporate deficit hawk direction. But he's the better person, so who do you vote for in that scenario? I mean, we all know what you
need to know right now is if you're wondering what Joe Biden's team looks like, it's just the guys who are running the Ferris Bueller's Day Off Kennedy machine for 30 years before this.
Right. So from the article...
No changes.
So from the article, he's going to a bar with Chris Dodd, and Kennedy sees Chris Dodd's framed photo on the wall, and he says, "Who's this guy?" And he grabs the photo off the wall, throws it on the ground, breaks the glass, and then Dodd does the same thing. And they do the Mexican hat dance on their photos.
Man, holy shit. So many politicians are like horrible human beings just by nature of being politicians, but if they just worked in the private sector, would be like the coolest person of all time.
It would just be legend.
Yeah. Like, that's so funny.
That's what the movie Wolf of Wall Street is about.
Yeah, so they, like we said earlier, they are at La Brasserie, which is now closed, but they go in the back room, and this is a back room where Kennedy has had sex with women, and they've had like 3 or 4 cocktails in a half hour, and the waitress comes in, and Kennedy just like picks her up and throws her on Dodd, and they're like, the pants are down, she leaps up and gets out of the room. And Dodd is saying like, "Oh, it's not my fault." And then Kennedy says, "Makes you wonder about the leaders of this country," which is a very telling quote.
It really does make it's true.
Yeah. Like he's self-aware enough to know that like this is debaucherous behavior, but like thinks he's above it. I guess thinks he's invincible, or just like is like. Some people have speculated, not to get too psychoanalytical, that he like genuinely didn't want to become president, so he did this stuff like to get out of that.
Oh,
which is interesting.
It's the same behavior like an 80s action movie shows the bad guy doing to justify Rambo blowing his brains out in 3 minutes. One for one, the same.
Yeah. So anyway, the article is called "Ted Kennedy on the Rocks." It's GQ.
Hell yeah!
It's a wild read.
Man.
All right.
I love it.
We're to wind this baby down.
Yeah, let's fucking wind this down. I don't have anything else to talk about this week. I watched How to Survive a Plague the other night, which is a movie about.
Oh, do you know now?
Yeah. I watched it because I wanted to, for instructions. And
you watch it? I just read the WikiHow article.
Yeah, it's weird because they don't offer any of the instructions in either of those. It's a movie about ACT UP and like its sort of formation during the AIDS crisis, and eventually getting like one medication approved that saved like 6 million people's lives, and it's not even like really, it doesn't even get up to like where we are now with AIDS, where there's like PrEP and shit like that, and kind of a more advanced medication. But the thing that was like so weird about it to me was that Dr. Fauci was just in it a bunch of times, like, and over the course of his life. So like the 10 years that the AIDS crisis was in full effect, right up until ACT UP was able to like sort of ram through, or protest enough to ram through certain legislation, he was just around. He was the guy back then. It's weird. He looks like Andy Samberg when he's young. And which is really weird because they had Brad Pitt play him on SNL because he just like made a dumb fucking normie guy joke about how he's like, well, if someone's gonna play me, it should be Brad Pitt. But I don't know. He's kind of a fascinating character to me because like people are doing Robert Mueller shit with him. They're like standing him real hard, and he's extremely apolitical, like Robert Mueller, like where he's just like. All of his politics revolve around his job. So like back then, He also was just like,
he's a disease gumshoe.
Yeah. Like during the AIDS crisis, he wasn't really like that bad. He was just the front like representative for whatever the fuck his specific job is. In this documentary, he's just like, fuck, I don't know. Like there's like people with AIDS just like screaming at him, and he's just like, oh, we have to follow the rules. And he's, I don't know. He's occupying a similar space right now. Everyone thinks he's going to save us. I don't really understand. I don't know. I don't know why I brought this up. I guess I'm trying to like draw some sort of parallel between what's happening right now and the AIDS crisis, but it's not. It's not a similar situation because that was a situation where like a marginalized group of people were protesting the government because everyone was denying that the reality of a pandemic was happening because it was only happening to a certain group of people. Now it's happening to everyone, and we're denying it because it's happening to everyone, or we're not denying
People are talking too about Fauci getting fired, and I think he's going to last, but he's going to last until he's named Time Person of the Year, and Trump will get jealous and then fire him. If I'm predicting.
He would be Times Person of the Year, wouldn't he? It's either him or it's like everyone or something.
Yeah, the essential worker. Thank them.
Thank them.
Yeah.
Thank them. Fly
The
planes
police.
near them. They love planes.
Blue Angel pilots will be, yeah.
The real Blue Angels are essential workers.
Man,
There you go.
the Blue Angel thing.
I came up with that right
I
now.
forgot to mention this when we were talking about that a couple episodes ago, but I was jacking off a few days ago, and I accidentally finished
Nice, dude.
right as like the neighborhood started clapping for the nurses as they were getting out of the train. It's like, oh, this feels so cool. It feels like everyone's.
This is what I wanted the whole time.
Yeah. But
Nice.
God, I wish I had done that with the Blue Angels. It would have been so fucking funny. Like, yeah.
You bust as the flyover.
Thank you for
Strikes your ass.
saluting me or whatever. I don't know.
All right.
All right, let's get the fuck
Well,
outta
I
here.
have an exciting start to plugs. I want to plug congratulations to Elon Musk and Grimes for their first child,
Yeah, X.
Titan AE X45 or whatever its name is. It's going to be a strong, maniacal child that will one day harbinger the end times. And I, for one, applaud your fertilization, sirs. Here's Reddit Gold. I would also like to thank everyone who listened to Pedophile High School last week. Got really good feedback from anyone who actually opened it. Just to have something to do, I'm going to try to make a new episode every month. In the Quar. Cranking out content in the Quar. So keep listening for that. I don't know where I'm going to put it, but more episodes to come. And follow me on Twitter at Patak Jokes.
I just have the Patreon of this podcast and Why You Mad and its Patreon to plug, and that's it, I think.
Nice.
What about you, Anders?
Let's see. I'm trying to plug the thing I talked about earlier, which is DSA helping create resources for online workers, not just DSA. Check out fight.ueunion.org. They are providing information for essential and non-essential workers who are getting laid off or interested in unionizing and hazard pay. There's a lot of good info there.
All right.
I'm
going to plug Ted Kennedy. Check him out.
No, Jake. Don't do it. What about him?
I don't know. I guess
We're having a meeting about this.
one thing that certain essential workers, bartenders, have been doing during the pandemic is, doing virtual bartending on Zoom, where they can't make you a drink and hand it through the screen, but you can make your own drink and then hang out with your friend that you usually go to because they're a bartender, and then you tip them virtually, right? So it's like a virtual cheers. We can cheers to Ted Kennedy now, We can imagine that he's hanging out with us virtually, and that'll
Right. And he's just there, and he's like, I'm touching you. Pretend I'm touching you.
yeah. We should.
I can't be stopped. I'm too powerful, and I'm touching
I'm
you.
plugging cybering with Ted Kennedy. I think that's something that might help us make it through this.
Oh, bruh. It's a shame it came to this.
All right. Listen, I'm sorry that merch took so long to send out. I had a bike accident and smashed my head on the concrete. But I'm sending it out after we record this podcast. So if you ordered a shirt, it's coming soon. If it doesn't come now, if it takes a long time from this point on, then it's the postal service's fault, not mine.
It's a goddamn government.
Yeah.
Trying to stop you from wearing a sick t-shirt in time for the summer of the damned.
Yeah. The stupid children shirts. I guess we have to make those. No, that's not good. I don't know. All right. Let's get the fuck out of here.
It's finished.
It's finished.